Paul Bowles' side of Seneca. Hitching up from the city, home-razored hair, two-torn knitwear, toothbrush poking out of her bumpsters, her aroma cumin and her own essence. She couldn't get a ride out of Watkins, so she walked up the Paul Bowles side of Seneca. And no, Paul Bowles on Glenora. Glenora's halfway up to Dundee up from Watkins. He was standing there and he wrote, Seneca is a long, narrow glacial lake. High shale cliffs edge its southern end. The boathouse had 3 levels. The west wall of each story had been left unbuilt, and the rough shale stuck out into the rooms. 2 more flights of stairs had to be climbed before you came to terra firma. And then you were in the woods. It was a dark wood, but one free of undergrowth because its hemlocks had been shedding their needles for many years. A thick blanket of them padded the ground everywhere. Overnight, strange things could push up through the blanket of needles. Puffballs, Dutchman's pipes, fungi like the slabs of orange flesh, colonies of spotted toadstools, and best of all, the deadly Amanita. I would seek out an Amanita and stand staring down at it in fascination and terror. There at my feet brewed death itself, only waiting for the decisive contact. So that's Paul Bowles, okay? This is Paul Bowles. He grows up on Seneca Lake. Lived the last 50 of his life he lived in Tangier, Morocco, but he wanted to be buried in Lake Mont Cemetery overlooking Seneca Lake. I don't know, maybe it was the only place he was ever happy or something. A gas and salt company intends to store huge quantities of gas in old salt caverns along the shores of the lake. Why put the gas back in the earth? You know, people are cold around here. This hard-scrabble country, she's seen children huddled around the kitchen oven waiting for heat to deliver a load of cordwood. Corporates do not want to sell us the gas. The price is too low. They want to store it dangerously close to our water, hoard it, create a shortage, then sell it when the price is high. Soil it green! They're putting our lives at risk so they can charge us more. In the time of the green corn moon, the Seneca Lake defenders block the gates. The police come and they are handcuffed. They're put in the back of a car. They're taken to jail. And she, co-founder of the Paul Bowles Club of Contemplative Solitude, sitting in her fort in the forest, feeling like Frida Kahlo, standing in the back with the artist, while Benita Galdeano's dragged from the barricades, raising her chained arms with a kiss and a smirk. In 1942, not 1492, it's the summer after Pearl Harbor, right? So Paul Bowles is staying in Watkins Glen with his friend Antonio Alvarez, a Mexican artist. And he's at Holden Hall, this big mansion. It's right, even today, you go up to the Watkins Theater, just 2 blocks up the hill. There's this beautiful white and green mansion. So Paul Bowles is staying there in the summer of 42, right? And Jane Bowles is there. She's got her friend Ithaca. And Alvarez, he looks pure Native American, right? So that looks sufficiently Japanese for the neighbors to call the police. And Bowles and Alvarez are arrested. Since we were speaking Spanish, he writes, the police thought he was a Japanese spy and I must be a German spy. So the police had to telephone Paul's uncle in Glenora and come down. And I swear, this is Paul Bowles. Here's the way he describes it. Antonio took long walks through the gorges and on the hills round about. Wherever he went, people, hidden behind the curtains of farmhouse windows, rose and went to their telephones. Even I was arrested twice. Wait, I gotta tell you who this guy is. He's once at gunpoint. and held for questioning until Uncle Charlie could come down from Holden Hall and vouch for me. So, in the music room at Holden Hall right then, no, Uncle Charlie had to come all the way down from Glenora, I'm sorry. So in Holden Hall, he's there in the summer, that's his aunt's old house, but he completes this light opera. It's called The Wind Remains. It's produced in the Museum of Modern Art. Leonard Bernstein conducts it. I mean, this is the stuff he's writing in Watkins Glen, between arrests, you know. And it's choreographed by Merce Cunningham, right? That summer, the same summer, 43, summer of 42, all the way through the fall he was here, he translated Stardust Playing No Exit, and it was directed by John Huston and won the Drama Critics Award that year. So, it's twice at gunpoint. They're like holding him, as a German spy. And Jane Bowles. Jane was there too. She's my favorite. She published her only novel in 1943, right after she finished it up there. Paul said he wished he'd written it, and Tennessee Williams named it his favorite book. It's called Two Serious Ladies. It's really a funny novel. Okay, Jane unfortunately suffered a stroke in 1957, but even though the stroke affected her sight and her imagination, she continued, notebook after notebook, attested her continuing struggle to try to write. I like that, No matter what happens, me and Steve will feel, we'll be trying to write. Anyway, okay, just one or two more. Okay, so she applies for a job. This is the vagabond hitchhiker there. Oh, yeah. Here's a few recollections from Seneca Lake. So in the last days of the summer moon, Judy came to visit the vagabond hitchhiker, the ill-dressed vagabond hitchhiker, right? At night, they slept on... No, they walked through the gorges and hills, just like Alvarez did, but nobody arrested them, right? Only Judy told her she was very attracted to her. At night, they slept on the balcony of Judy's cottage, and the tree branches were growing up through the floorboards, and people down by the water just could hear like little bird-like rustling noises up in the tree. The next morning, they went bathing in a triple secret side gorge. Yep, we got him on Seneca Lake. And Judy, she wore a asymmetrical black bathing suit. And the water was like trembling like there was one of those monsters. Anyway, Judy went back to the city and they rode for a while, and then Judy sent her a letter saying, I met someone. I met someone. Anyway, so she applies for a job at the salt mines, right? But there's the dreaded question. Have you ever been convicted or pled guilty for any crime other than a minor traffic violation? So she worked for a while in Dresden, in the shadow of that the power plant, and right across the river right across the water from the naval barge, where they test nuclear submarines. Things didn't go that well, but I swear the ferryman was a mean drunk. But she ended up with a horse and a boat, okay? So there was a bar she used to go to. She called it Fatuhiva. She just called it, I don't know what its real name was. It was right on the lake. So at the end of the green corn moon, no, this is at the end of the thunder moon, sorry, a couple of months earlier, Roxy comes into the Fatuhiva, right? And cut off bib overalls and white platform pumps. Well, they play a little nine ball, and somebody bought shots, and so they entwine their arms and are drinking. And a little whiskey spilled on Roxy's arm, and she involuntarily licked it off. Do you want to sleep over tonight, Roxy asked. Where would I sleep, she said. In my bed. Say no more. We have to cuddle. So here's the last poem. It's spring. The sugar moon's a sickle. The ice bars melt. The Nixies are out, and she's out with them, riding to Cassia's with a crust of yolk of bread and a jug of elderberry wine. Cassia liked the bread, but please put a little more sugar in the wine. They get on the horse together. Cassia in the back gives a little kick. The filly always breaks into a gallop anyway, and they climb over the hill. Cassia's cashmere covered arms around her. Seneca spread out before them like a coro bacante. Wait, whoa. The filly's ears cocked back. A song rises up from the lake. Not a single inch will give. And she, priestess of the Jane Bowles Club of awkward apartness, not a single inch will give. Like Paul Newman hearing Tom Cruise breaking the rack in The Color of Money, not a single inch will give. She's like